4.2 is about niches and community interactions. First vocabulary word you need to know is tolerance. Every species has its own range of tolerance, which is basically an optimum range where it can survive. This can be temperature, it can be water availability, pH, things like that. If there's an environmental condition like temperature that goes beyond that tolerance range, the organism gets stressed. So it's sort of external homeostasis. The organism must give more energy to maintain its own homeostasis, so it has less energy left for growth and reproduction. Tolerance for environmental conditions help determine habitat, the general place where an organism lives. Now, more information along with habitat defines an organism's niche. So it's habitat and then how it interacts with biotic and abiotic factors in the environment. So it's not only physical and biological aspects of the environment, but the way in which the organism uses these things to survive and reproduce. Resources are defined by many things. Some examples: water, nutrients, live food, space. Plants need sunlight, water, and soil nutrients. Animals need nesting space, shelter, types of food, and places to feed. Part of an organism's niche involves abiotic factors. Amphibians lose and absorb water through their skin, so they have to live in moist places. If it goes out of that tolerance range, the area is too hot and dry or too cold for too long, amphibians can't survive. Biological aspects include requirements for survival, when and how it reproduces. When and how it reproduces, the food it eats, how it gets that food. There's an island called Christmas Island in the Indian Ocean. The birds live in the same habitat because they prey on fish of different sizes and feed in different places. So that creates different niches for each of those birds. If there's overlap, if there's more than one organism that occupies a niche, then we get competition. And that's where one species will win out and one will not. In a forest, plants can compete for water and nutrients in the soil. We more often think of animals competing: food, mates, places to live and raise their young. So competition can occur within a species or between species. Within a species, it's intraspecific competition. Between species, it's interspecific competition. Competition between different species, like I said, almost always produces a winner and a loser. If they're occupying the same niche, two species can't survive. So what you see here is an experiment that was run, competition experiment, between two different protists, two different paramecium, P. aurelia and P. caudatum. They were grown in separate cultures, and those are the dashed lines. They're both going along just fine. When both species were grown together, that's what you see with the solid lines, P. aurelia outcompeted P. caudatum. The less competitive species didn't survive. This demonstrates the competitive exclusion principle. No two species can occupy the exact same niche in the same habitat at exactly the same time. Competition will result, and one species will be excluded eventually. Because of this, natural communities don't have niches that overlap. Species will divide resources. So we have in this example, 3 species of North American warblers live in the same trees and feed on insects. But they divide the tree. One species feeds on high branches, another feeds on low branches, another feeds in the middle. It's called sharing. The resources used are similar yet different, so each species has its own niche, and it minimizes competition. Competition determines the number and kinds of species in a community and the niche that each species occupies. This is one you've probably heard of before. Predation. One animal captures and feeds on another. Predators can affect the size of prey populations and determine the places prey can live and feed. This is a computer model of the cycle of predator and prey populations over time. So you see one responds to the other. What we have here is the prey population goes up, followed by the predator population. The prey population goes down, the predator population goes down. So the predator population curve follows the prey population. The interaction where one animal feeds on producers, herbivory. Herbivores can affect the size and distribution of plant populations. And again, just like the predators and prey, determine the places that certain plants can survive and grow. A single species can cause huge changes in an entire community, and that species is called a keystone species. The example here, sea otters devour large quantities of sea urchins. Sea urchins are herbivores whose favorite food is kelp. When sea otters were hunted and almost eliminated, the kelp forest vanished. So what happened was, on either side of the sea urchins, the populations went down. Otters weren't predators, so the sea urchin population went up like crazy, and all those sea urchins devoured kelp down to the bare rock. So the otters were the keystone species. When they were gone, it not only affected one population, but 2. And even more, because without kelp to provide habitat, seabirds also disappeared. Otters were protected as an endangered species. Their population recovered. Urchin populations dropped, kelp forests began to thrive again, and seabirds returned. There are 3 different types of interaction called symbiosis, which means living together. They're called mutualism, parasitism, and commensalism. Mutualism is where both species benefit. So here I have the anemone and the clownfish. The sea anemone stings. So it can capture prey and it can protect itself from predators. Clownfish is immune to anemone stings. So it can seek shelter in the anemone. If an anemone-eating species tries to attack, the clownfish chase away the predators. So the clownfish gets protection, and then the clownfish guards the anemone. This is mutualism. Parasitism is where one organism lives inside or on another organism and harms it. So the parasite is benefited, and the host is harmed. Parasite obtains all or part of its nutritional needs from a host organism. Parasites usually weaken but do not kill. So you got tapeworms. This is the gross slide. Fleas, ticks, lice, and leech. These all feed on blood. Tapeworms live in the intestines of mammals. Disgusting. Barnacles attach themselves to a whale's skin. You can see the whale fluke here with all the little circles. Those are barnacles. This is an example of commensalism. One organism benefits, the other is neither helped nor harmed. So the whale is neither helped nor harmed, but since the barnacles are tagging along, moving through the water with the whale, they get that water circulating through their bodies, through their shells, and food particles are able to be trapped. So barnacles are benefited, whales are neither helped nor harmed. That's commensalism.